I'm starting this video from my Google Drive, and you can see the folder is called AI Business Reports because this is where our agents are starting to put all of our reports into there. And I'm gonna explain exactly how this is actually very helpful for my team, but also just really dive into how you can make sure that you win with AI. Because what I've done is I've built agents to handle systems that we do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis to truly grow my business. And as you can see, if you go in here, you're gonna see reports. These are reports done on a daily basis for my business, on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and I have all these reports here. Now, we were already doing these reports for the last 2 months, but now we're actually bringing it to Google Drive where my team can have full visibility to it because I was just getting them. And so I'm gonna be diving into this a lot more in this video, not necessarily the reports, but how to build systems to truly save time, to truly do a more effective work and grow your business. And so I'm calling this section, and this time right now is most founders are using AI wrong. I see two things that's happening a lot. They're either focusing on the really fancy things or they're just using like a chatbot. And in my opinion, the best way to do it is focus on systems that you already have in your business, employees you already have, and work step by step to actually have AI handle most of the work. And in some scenarios, you get to reduce labor costs, and in most scenarios, you get to 10x everything you do. So let's dive into it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I'm doing it, show you an exact system, and I can dive in exactly how I build these systems step by step, so you can learn from it if you guys want. Just leave a comment below and I will do it. So the big premise here that I really want to communicate is that AI starts to compound. And I see this in my business, and actually I'll get to this a little bit later, but I'm starting another business now because I really have a lot of time, and our systems in our businesses are already humming. And it wasn't perfect from day one. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't. It took time to figure out things, but that's the whole point of this community, for me to show exactly, to help out so you can actually build these systems yourself. And this video will be so helpful. If you just watch this one video, I promise you will understand more and you'll be able to build those systems to actually grow your business. So here's the math that I'm doing. If you spend 8 hours a week, maybe it's your Saturday, maybe it's your Sunday, maybe it's throughout the week. If you spend 8 hours a week, you'll be able to replace 8 hours in the following week, and that'll start to compound. Now, if you do that every week, you're gonna be able to start replacing roles left and right, processes left and right. Next thing you know, you'll be in a situation like where my businesses are, where a lot of the systems are handled by AI, and we add in the human for the taste, the actual human touch that needs to happen. And now we're able to do a lot more because our team can focus on being different and being unique, while the AI can handle all the systems, all the data, and actually build processes to help us grow. And so if you're a founder, my take is you need somebody on your team, or you need to be at least spending some time in AI to build these systems. So this is the framework that I made that I think makes the most sense for most businesses. First step, when you're starting with AI, replace existing systems. So find a system in your business, and we're gonna go over some examples, but find a system in your business that you do on a repeated basis, or your team does on a repeated basis, and go step by step by using AI, Cloud Code, to actually build it. Now, this is the hard part, right? It takes time. I say it takes about 8 hours. Depending on the complexity of the system, it takes about 8 hours to fully perfect it. In a lot of cases, it could take about an hour or two, but you wanna make it perfect. It just depends on the scenario. And so that is step one, using AI to replace existing systems that already work. And I think this is the part where people say AI doesn't work because they don't have systems that actually work. Let me give you an example. Customer service. This is really easy. This is a really easy example. AI can handle your customer service. Easy. I actually built my first agent on customer service without even giving it SOP. I just had it read our last emails for the last 365 days, and it did better than even giving it SOP. Now, after it did that, I did have it make a SOP so I make sure it follows those rules moving forward, and I can correct a few things, but AI is there. Okay, so we had 4 customer service reps. Now we have 1. Because AI is handling 80% of our customer service. And now we just have the human to handle the edge cases and also to make sure that everything is running smoothly still. You still need a human to handle these functions of the business. You can't, that's why I say you can't just fire people. You have to use AI to 10x things. That's how we're thinking about it. So after you start actually building and replacing existing systems, that's when you start building new systems. So if you're like my business, we had so many programs that we were not executing, not because we didn't want to, but because we didn't have the resources, the time and the money to actually do it. And now we do. For example, SEO, right? We always put that on the back burner because we never really saw the ROI, but now I have an SEO agent building out blogs on a weekly basis. And all we have to do is approve it. AI does the research and everything like that, builds the entire report. We have our humans just approve it and make the final edit. This is an example of how you can build systems that weren't in your business, but now can really help your business. And then the third level is building systems to build systems. Now, this is the harder part because it's a little bit of complexity, but we're already doing this. And so I have an agent that researches the entire web, Reddit, Twitter, everything, all founders, everything that they're talking about, and finding systems that other people are building and then building it for us. Now, I still have to go into and make sure that it's perfect for my business, but it assesses and it builds it and it gets you about 70% there. And that is already turning that 8 hours that I talked about earlier into like 3 hours, because now we already built a full framework and now I just have to tailor it so how we want our result. And so just to give you an example of what's happening, you guys know that I have 2 businesses. I'm starting a third one, super excited about it. And I'm using AI to handle 90% of it. And this is just like an idea, some rough estimates that I came up with on what's happening and how much AI is actually replacing our role. So a meta media buyer, about 30 hours. This is uploading campaigns, researching, data analysis, weekly optimizing. This is something I paid 40 hours a week to do. And now I have AI doing it and it's just reporting to me actually, because I know meta ads. I don't think it's too complex. I get a report every day of what it optimized, what campaigns it set up, how they're doing, how we're pacing, all that stuff. I know Google ads as well. Google isn't as big of a player as Meta is for our business, and so that's why I'm estimating 10 hours. Email agent, customer service, creative director agent, which I'm going to dive to in a second, but this is what I'm talking about. It starts to compound. Once you start building these systems, these processes with AI, then it starts to compound and you're like, oh my God, like this work is being done for me. Now you can put guardrails on your agents and not have them do work, but we actually allow our agents to do work. So my meta media buyer actually optimizes all my campaigns. It just gives me a report on what it did. Same with my Google agent, same with my email agent. And these are things that are being done. Now we still have humans in the touch. For example, my email agent builds email briefs every single week and it gives it to our creative designer, and our creative designer executes it, brings that taste to it, and then gives it back to the agent to set up fully. So we still have human in the touch. Want to be clear there. Same with the creative director agent, which I'll dive into. This is a part that I think is really, really important. A lot of people take skills from other people, take processes from other people, and you might even get some from this community. But what's really, really important is making sure that you go through that system and that process for your business, because every business is different, every system is different, and you need to make sure that it works and gives you the results you want one time. Once you do that, you say, okay, save this as a process, save these steps, exactly everything that went wrong, everything went right, so we can just do this on repeat. That's all you have to tell the agent once you do it. Once you do that, you're gonna get a system like this. This is my creative director. So every Monday at 10 a.m. Bali time, fully automated. I don't tell it to do anything. No human triggers at all. And what it's doing is firing. That's a schedule. It's called a cron. And so what I'm gonna cover is every single step that this agent's doing, because a lot of people just try to say, go do this, agent, and that's why it's breaking. That's why it doesn't work, because you have to give it step by step by step. Make sure every step works exactly what you want, see the output, and then say, okay, automatically do that. Now, this isn't like the NAN days or the Zapier days where it will break in between and all this. No, because this is AI doing it. And I think that's the big key. You just do it one time and then it should be smooth for the long term. Now, I do have an agent that just checks on every single schedule every day to make sure everything ran smoothly. And if it didn't, it dives into it and fixes it. So I have an agent to fix all these things automatically too. That's another hack. So anyway, my creative director AI agent gets triggered, pulls our meta performance data, scrapes Reddit and Twitter. I gave it the accounts to scrape. It's over 200 accounts, I believe. Does a visual analysis of our top creative. So gives it to OpenAI to assess it, the product framing, the hook style, the creative type, the visual patterns. Then it scores every creative. Scaling, watch, kill, fatiguing. Every ad gets a label and it flags the winners to scale and losers to cut. Now, I have a meta media buyer that handles the optimization. This is just good for the creative director, especially as they're gonna be building briefs to understand what's working, what's not. The next step is identify brief priorities. So it looks at our account data, marketing signals, determines what to exploit, what to test, and what angles to hit this week. So this is all based on all this data from the first 5 steps to determine which direction we should go. But before we finalize it and start making a brief, we go through this anti-slop filter. This is called the divergent skill that I give it, where I say every brief concept gets stress test. Like if this is what AI would say, like make it better or find a different area. And so we have 5 quality checks to make sure that these are really good, unique ideas, and these will actually cut through and build ads that work for our businesses. The next step is building Bamboo Av briefs, Vibe Interior briefs, those are my businesses, and then 5 founder ad angles as well. One big focus that we're doing for my business, if you go check our ads, you'll probably see it soon, is a lot of founder ad, and that's gonna be me, and it's doing it all for me. Now, the human touch comes here. Let me explain where the human touch comes. So the human touch is right here. These briefs are made and then human comes in and executes. Now you already saw I made tools that where AI can actually do creatives. And we actually have that part of the steps here where we actually do another brief for AI creatives alone. But if I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't believe AI is there to automate your full creative process. You're gonna get AI slop. You need to have humans in the loop, and this is what we do. So how does this help us? Because these creative briefs took a lot of work still. AI can analyze data, find trends, assess the market trends and everything like that as well, and build good briefs, especially with this anti-slop rule. But actually creating the content, I don't think we're there yet. We might be there in 6 months, 12 months, but I don't think we're fully there yet. And even when we are fully there, I do believe having that human touch is most important. So don't want to talk about creatives too much because I know a lot of people aren't really focused on it. But anyway, it builds these PDFs and it puts it in the Google Drive, as you guys saw. Now my team handles it every Monday. They know that it's coming there and they're just executing on it for the week. And so I want to talk about this too, because at the beginning, when I started using AI, especially OpenClaw, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna replace my entire team. And it really can, except those parts that I talked about, the human touch. But what I'm actually realizing is I'm gonna fall behind with that strategy. And that's why you're gonna see me ramping it up a lot. And I have been ramping it up the last few weeks, is because what I think, AI is about 10xing everything. And the brands that are gonna win in the next 2-3 years are the ones that understand that quickly and beat their competition because they're able to push out everything a lot faster. We're talking products, creatives, marketing, everything, influencer outreach, direct outreach, everything. Like AI can handle so much, it can 10x it. But I think it's really important, and actually the way we're thinking about it, we're gonna grow our team this year because we are gonna build systems with AI, with a teammate, to allow us to actually get that ROI that's needed and feel confident behind it. And that leads to another thing that I've learned in this process. So with my businesses, we have a constraint of inventory. Like that's just the truth. And for Bamboo Av in particular, we are looking to have a really amazing year. We're actually just going into the season and it is looking great. And we are actually surprised because we thought it was actually gonna be a little bit rockier with the market trends. But one thing that I know and one thing that I'm gonna take advantage of is that this is an arbitrage opportunity. So all these systems that I built, that Meta Media Buyer, that Google Ads Media Buyer, that email agent, that content creation, that creative director, I'm gonna just copy paste that to my new business and excel it. And so what I'm focusing on now, and you're gonna see videos through the whole process of me building this, is a full business that I'm building that's 90% AI, and it's built off these same systems that I built here. Because AI can do so much now, and it's doing so much in my businesses, and now I wanna just transfer it over. So that is what I'm doing. You're gonna see a lot of content on there. We're trying to hit $5 million in 90 days. We're like on day 3 right now, and I am extremely excited and optimistic about it. And so that's where I want to end the video. If you want me to dive into actually building a full system process, like we have a lot built already. And as I mentioned, it takes time. It doesn't take just like 30 minutes. And so that's why I haven't made a full video of going step by step. But what I can do is show you how you would do it. So comment if you want to see that, and I'll make sure I make that in the next few days. I just want to understand if people actually want this. And I know people are watching this throughout the week, so I'll give it a week before I actually see the results. And if you do want to see me break it down, just let me know.